in purified water at Valley Water, has been for over 20 years. Currently the chair of the WateReuse International Advisory Committee. He has a doctorate in soil and water science from UC Davis and has been responsible for all of Valley Water's recycling program and playing a key role in the implementation of the Silicon Valley Advanced Purified Water Center and building purified water projects in the Silicon Valley. There's going to, I mean, it's been the pretty much only facility, but it's going to have some friends later. So without further ado. You could put it here if you'd like to.
No, I can. This is the one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dennis, and thank you. Sorry, but you are eating lunch. I don't want to really impact your lunch, but go ahead and continue. So actually, I wanted to give you some sort of update because some of you may have heard before about the projects that we are doing at Valley Water, especially regarding purified water, which is one of the items that I was talking to some of you is, you know, when you talk about purified water, is really interesting because it's a new concept for water supply and something that is not only we call it drought resistant, but also is something local. We don't have to import from somewhere. That's the beauty of it. And actually we are located somewhere in Bay Area, so-called in California, we call it Silicon Valley, that we believe in the technology. And that's something that been very advantageous to us to work here and talk about purified water and talk about technology, how technology can mimic the nature to produce the purified water that you can drink it from wastewater. So with that, I think some of you may heard about us. We used to call Santa Clara Valley Water District. We changed it to Valley Water. And so we have, we are the wholesaler water in Santa Clara County. And we have, 275 miles of pipelines, and we have 3 water treatment plants, 1 advanced water treatment plant that we recently built. And then also, you can see the system that we developed throughout the years for supplying water to our retailers. So 50% of our water coming from outside. I think you heard Peter about the water transfer and everything happening in some area in Bay Area. But also we have the Good Water Conservation Program, which is 15% of our water is demand reduction coming from that area. And so far we have been able to do 5% of water supply from recycled water. We don't have purified water yet, but we are working toward that I'm going to talk about it. So this is very important. I think to me it's a very important chart that to look at is showing the water situation and groundwater in Santa Clara County. Our groundwater is very important. It's a big storage underground, which I think it's very good to really have compared to storage above the ground. And this is going to be a very important part of our water supply. So we kept it pristine, and we want to keep it that way. And then regarding the water level, if you look at the blue line here, this shows the groundwater level as it goes up and down throughout the years from 1900 up to now. So we wanted to see it here on the top closer to groundwater rather than down here, because you don't want to see subsidence, as you can see here sometime happened during 1950 to 1970s. 13 feet of subsidence happened in San Jose area. So in order to prevent that, we need to make sure that we are not going to pulling out a lot of water and not putting it back in there. So that's the idea of showing this chart, that we're really working hard to make sure this blue line is always going to be high enough to not having subsidence. So the next things I think related to my job is showing this table that's showing where we are on recycled water. Some people, they call it recycled water as everything, recycled water, which using for irrigation and cooling tower, and also using it for water reuse. But we call it recycle and portable. So recycle means the water, the tertiary treated water coming from the wastewater treatment plant and using it for irrigation, cooling towers, toilet flushing, and others not for drinking. It's for non-drinking water. And then the portable means that you're using for drinking water. So this chart showing what's happening at Silicon, at the Santa Clara County, at our area, which is, as you can see, from 1997 almost, it started having recycled water for treatment plants in the county. And the main one is, of course, is San Jose, Santa Clara. They started, using recycled water. And then, so our goals is to see if we can make 10% of total water supply coming from the recycled water. So 10% is the goal of our board, which is by 2015. But then another goal set up by the board, which I'm really glad to see one of our ex-board member here, is really our board is really thinking about the future. And the future, say some of them, they say is today. We need to start today, which is really correct, because any project, especially recycled water, you cannot do it overnight. You have to plan at least 10 years, 15, 20 years early to get to that point. So in order to get to up to 24,000 acre-feet per year of portal reuse by 2028, we had to do a lot of work before. So as you can see, the recycled water, you can do so much, because then right now is most of the low-hanging fruits are already connected. So in order to get to the goals that we have, we need to move from recycled water to potable. And that's the part that we say by 2028, hopefully we're gonna have up to 24,000 acre-feet of the water coming from the portal reuse. And that's why you see the jump here. And then we're going to continue still with recycled water, but it's not going to be as much. So this is the huge jump to go to portal reuse if we want to meet the water supply goals that we have. And also the other one is 45,000 acre-feet. Also, we're looking into the future as well. So that's a huge goal that we have here. In order to do that, we come up with the county-wide WateReuse master plan. So we had to do the master plan to see how we can use all the water within the county, where the wastewater is available, and how we can use those wastewater, and where we can having the project that not only expanding recycled water, but also developing the portal reuse. So we had so many stakeholders, including Peter here, that it was really good to have those stakeholders among everybody's environmental group, the water retailers, some of regulatory agencies. They were really join us to come up with the master plan here, which we call it core plan. By the core plan, 2019, after about 8 years, the core plan development, 2019, we had the final report came out. Of course, it has so many goals in the master planning. Improve water supply reliability, so many opportunities that is available, because we have 4 different wastewater treatment plants, that's the basis for getting the water from them. So we need to know how we can connect those, where the water should come. So there was really a lot of work has to be done. One of the good things about this plant was flexibility, because we want to not only have the amount of water that we talk about and also with the most efficient way to get it, but also see how we can be efficient. Especially our board says, don't come with just give me the ranking, give me the flexibility. Where would be the water coming in and how we can use the water, then we can, put together one water from here and then another water from there, let's say from San Jose, Santa Clara, and also maybe from Palo Alto or from Sunnyvale or from Gilroy. So we had that kind of flexibility to make a decision on. So groundwater recharge, which is, they call it indirect potable, IPR, is the goal or the actually the one of the options that at the time the board made a decision to move forward with IPR, because the DPR, direct potable, we didn't have it, we didn't have regulation. So you may have heard about the DPR regulation now. At that time, we was just in the process. We didn't know what was going to be coming up. So we were really looking into IPR, groundwater recharge. So having the flexibility to looking into IPR and option for DPR is one of the also component of this master planning, core plan that we had. That's the beauty of this master plan compared to previous master plan that we had. So that's why we call it the IPR project, DPR ready project. So I think you heard today about Clara was talking about Palo Alto project. So we were working with Palo Alto and San Jose at the same time. So we were able to do the agreement with Palo Alto for the wastewater sooner than San Jose. So that's why the board wanted to move on, and then they wanted to have the first project to be really done early. So they said, let's start with Palo Alto. So that's why we have been working with Palo Alto for 4 or 5 years now on the planning part, and then we have the P3, which is public-private partnership in there set up. We have the consultant already working on. And so our team is really working on to make sure that we're going to get the water by 2028, potable water into our system. And the water is, we look at it, is going to be I mentioned about the Palo Alto, which is Palo Alto coming down all the way pipeline going to Los Gatos system in Campbell. So it's about 20 miles of pipeline. It's a lot of pipeline has to be built going there. So that's one of the options that we have from the core plan. And the other option is from San Jose going to Los Gatos system. The Los Gatos system is our huge pond that we can recharge groundwater with. So that's why Los Gatos system is a pond that has capacity to put that amount of water in there. So with that in mind, this is again IPR. So what you guys maybe heard just recently from Water Board, we had the draft coming out for DPR, direct potable reuse. Direct potable reuse means that the water coming out from wastewater be advanced treated, and then to the point that it's going to be drinkable. And there are two ways. One is goes to conventional treatment plant, they call it raw water augmentation, and then the other one that directly go into the system for the connection to the people drinking it, that they call it the treated water augmentation. So we are working on both was. At the time when we did the core plan, we were thinking that this DPR regulation may come in, but we were not sure about it. Now we know. So the DPR coming in, I think next year it's going to be regulation is going to be completed. And we know what kind of, to some extent, we know what kind of treatment technology needed to meet that kind of requirements. So we are thinking about right now building the DPR demonstration project. So that's one of the steps going toward the DPR. The regulation took about 10 to 13 years of coming, and we are going to fast forward on DPR demonstration project. While we are working on IPR, we're working on DPR as well. So the good thing is, I think I wanted to ask you, how many of you have heard about Silicon Valley Advanced Application Center? Okay. How many of you had a tour of Silicon Valley Advanced Application Center? Okay, the same number of people looks like. So I really encourage you to sign up and have a tour. Just call me or call, you go on the website, you can go and tour the Advanced Water Application Center. It is the largest kind of facility in Northern California. It's the technology that using for purification facility. You see the technology. And then I really had people that coming in and they wanted to say, I don't want to drink this water. They were really opposed of any type of wastewater treatment. And they said, we want to here to see just your ugly water and then what's happening. And then once they go through the tour at the end, so most of them, they said, where can we see the water? Where can we drink this water? Because they see the technology and they believe in it. So with demonstration project, which is going to be something to similar, but more treatment trained for DPR, is going to be showing again the public and also the regulatory agency how and what we're going to do with DPR and what kind of water is going to come in out. So this is going to be important for us. So we think that's going to take 2 to 3 years of building this demonstration facility. And we are hoping at the end we can drink the water from that too, because it's going to be a direct port of use. So with that in mind, the DPR, now we are switching. When we talk about San Jose, we don't talk about San Jose IPR. We're talking about San Jose as DPR project, because it's going to be much better and more efficient. And we think that even it will be less costly to have the DPR coming out from that. So this is a snapshot of the presentation, which is, of course, one of the things that we have in our mind is drought-proof supply. And also another thing, of course, is going to be flexibility of the implementation of the project. So we want it to be flexible as things are changing. As we saw, the DPR regulation came in, so we had to be flexible. We should not take another 10 years or 5 years to do the planning. So that's a good thing about it. And then also, one of the things that I want to emphasize is bring some relief to California water shortage challenge in relative short time. Whatever we develop, of course, is going to be less impact on the delta. So that's really the main things that we are doing, especially using the water is already here. So we don't have to pump it from everywhere else. So with that, I would like to see if there's any question. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the update.
Sure.
Really appreciate it. It's interesting with all the, with the DPR and IPR rulemaking.
Yeah.
You know, the way the timing of which is makes it that it'll be more of a DPR future, it looks like.
Yeah, it is. That's why it's exciting. Sure.
Just a quick question. So we talked about this a little bit at lunch, but can you describe a little bit how you're going to treat the public information campaigns around this?
That's a good question, Peter. Actually, it is it's kind of, when we start talking about these things, we had Orange County. Some of you heard about it. Orange County is a leader in California on IPR side. So what they told us is, let's do the public campaign, public outreach now, and you have to start early. And then we realized that engineering-wise, we can do everything, but when the public really have issue, that would be the hardest part. So in order to make sure that we have a public support and public perception is positive, so we start about, I think it is right now, it's about 12 years ago. So we start talking about purified water, the technology, and how we can mimic the nature to make this happen. And then building the Silicon Valley Advanced Education Center, one of the reasons was because of tour and public support. So we have, every year, we go and ask the public, we have the survey by our public, by outreach unit that we have. So it has been improving. And it is very interesting when you talk to the public and say, are you willing to drink the wastewater treated to the point that can be drinkable? The response is, I think, 69% or something. When you tell them how you are doing it, what kind of technology you're doing, like you using the RO, which is using under the sink, or usually sometimes they have the kitchen, and then this goes up about 10% more. So it is all information, how you convey the information to the public. And then also beside that, of course, we go to schools, we go to the different type of gatherings that under the cities, they invited us to go there. So we do a lot of work, but still is not enough. I think we need to do more. And that's why that we have a big group of consultants working on it. So what is the next step that we have to do? We were waiting for a project to really work on. Now we have a Palo Alto project. We are considering that project as some of the things we can tell the public, here's the water, and here's how it's going to be purified, and then where it's going to go. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Hossein. I